Happy Thursday, everyone. I hope you're, like me, looking forward to the hot summer weekend that is finally here. So, about Hong Kong. I'm not very good with this keypad. So, about Hong Kong. A few USPs. First, Hong Kong is a city where East meets West. And you find in Hong Kong, 99% of the people who live in Hong Kong are Chinese, but it has a very international outlook. So when you're in Hong Kong, you probably feel like you are in, it could be London, it could be New York. It's got that sort of international metropolis feel. It has, Hong Kong has a fascinating culture. And that's because Hong Kong carries a lot of Western values. It has the international outlook, but at the same time, there are also still a lot of traditional beliefs. People still practice in terms of like festivities, Chinese traditions. So that's why it's a very eclectic mix. Not many people know Hong Kong as a city embraced by nature. People think about Hong Kong and they probably see in their minds the picture of Victoria Harbour, of lots of high-rise buildings, but there are actually so much more outside the built-up areas. And I will talk about more on that a bit later. Hong Kong is a paradise for foodies. There are over 12,000 restaurants, cafes, eateries in Hong Kong. And it's one of those things I think I miss above everything else. I miss the food from Hong Kong most because I haven't been able to visit in the last 2 years. And finally, Hong Kong is a gateway to the Asia Pacific. I think a lot of you who have helped clients to visit are probably has done multi-destination trips where they have used Hong Kong as a stopover, because Hong Kong Airport is a great connector for the rest of Asia Pacific and to further afield to Australia and New Zealand. So people might know Hong Kong as a starting point for the Asia Pacific trip, and we hope that after my presentation today, you will think about maybe there's a bit more to do in Hong Kong, stay an extra day or two. So first of all, how to discover Hong Kong like a local. I'm going to show a video where there are some of the must-see places in Hong Kong and then some of the neighborhoods that people might be interested about. And then there will be, I'm going to break my question up into 2 blocks. So there'll be, for the first 2 questions after this presentation, this video, and then the next 3 questions will be after the second half of the presentation. So I hope you enjoy the video. Right. I'm going to go into a bit more detail about Central, one of the neighborhoods that you saw in the video. And because Central is really one of those neighborhoods that probably most visitors will come across, will visit when they are in Hong Kong, and it has so much to offer. Central is full of glossy skyscrapers. It's the financial and business heart of Hong Kong. But at the same time, it's also the oldest district. It is rich in history. There is so much to explore. And visitors are as likely to find swanky boutiques as traditional tea houses when they're in Central. I'll start from the top left picture and go clockwise. So this picture is of the Cat Street Market. It's not the name of the road, but everyone, and I don't know, I have never discovered why it's called Cat Street Market. It's a local market, and you can comb through, visitors can comb through antique shops, and as well as the latest fashionable concept stores. The endless rows of antique stores where you can pick up Chinese calligraphy, art, vintage furniture, bric-a-brac. It's great for souvenir hunters. It's great for people who like a good rummage around shops. And in recent years, there's some local designers and vintage clothing stores have also popped up in this area. Next along, this is the Peak Tram. The Peak Tram is 133 years old this year. It was originally built for the very rich who live on the top of the peak because the air is cooler on the peak. But now it's actually a novel way for people to visit. It is the steepest vernacular railway in the world, and it offers spectacular view along the journey as well as when you get to the top. And I always say to people, if you have the chance, go up to the peak during the day as well as at night, because the two views, the daytime, nighttime view, are completely different and both are spectacular. For me, my slight preference is the night view because all the sparkly lights just magical. The Peak Tram is not the only way to get up to the peak. There's also options to use public transport, buses, or taxis. And for those who are keen and fit, you can actually walk up to the peak from Central. It takes about 45 minutes and it's along a very green leafy path. So it's quite a nice way to see Hong Kong as well. Next along, this is the Man Mo Temple. It was built in 1847 and is one of the best known temples in Hong Kong. It is a declared monument. Man Mo Temple celebrates the god of literature, Man, and the god of war, Mo. And it's a really lovely contrast to all the high rises, the hectic business district that is outside. I want to add, there are actually quite a few Man Mo temples in Hong Kong, but this one is the best example. So next picture. This blue background mural, street mural, is one of the most photographed street art in Hong Kong. It was done by a local graffiti artist called Alex Croft. And he's depicting in the mural here a lot of old tenement buildings. These are typical in Hong Kong in the 40s and 50s. It's a very vibrant piece of art, and I think that's why it's become such a popular spot for Instagrammers and photograph hunters. And this is on Graham Street and Hollywood Road, and nearby there's also Staunton Street and Lyndhurst Terrace. And all these places you find vibrant street art from artists who are from all over the world. So we have street art from artists from France, Denmark, from UK, from Spain, and from South Korea, and of course homegrown graffiti artists as well. They're very popular in the recent years. Next along, this is a scene of the street food stores. Central really is a melting pot of flavors. There are cafes, restaurants to suit all taste buds and wallet size. If you are looking for an authentic Hong Kong cuisine, you find traditional dim sum and traditional bakery. And of course, because Hong Kong being an international metropolis, you will also find a number of Michelin star restaurants. Sorry if anyone can hear my phone ringing in the background. I don't normally get phone calls on the landline. It's probably a junk call. In this picture, this is on Elgin Street, and close by is actually Lan Kwai Fong. And Lan Kwai Fong is one of the, well, probably the most well-known nightlife hotspot in Hong Kong. Finally, this is Tai Kwun, and the name Tai Kwun in Chinese means a big police station. Tai Kwun is a heritage arts redevelopment venue. It opened in 2018. It consists of 16 heritage buildings, which used to be the former Central Police Station, Central Magistrate, as well as a Victorian prison. But nowadays, the restored buildings, visitors will find a range of visual arts, music, and theatre performances. There are film screenings, lunchtime concerts, and there's also a selection of very good food and beverage outlets as well. So it's a nice place to come and chill if you are in Central and you want to find a quiet spot to sit and contemplate. The Tai Kwun redevelopment received an award from the UNESCO Asia Pacific Awards for Cultural Heritage Conservation in 2019. So it is well worth a visit. So now I'm going to try and launch my first two questions. So which of the following is not a must-see attraction in Hong Kong? I'll give you a couple more seconds, wait till everyone has voted. Okay. So the correct answer is Museum of Teaware. Museum of Teaware is near Central as well. It's a very small museum. It's a very cute, intimate museum, and I like it because I like tea. So anyone who likes tea may want to go and search it out. Then next question. What is the name of the temple in Central that pays tribute to the god of literature and the god of war? A couple more seconds, and I think. Thank you. Yeah, the answer is Mammo Temple. Chi Lin Nunnery is another venue well worth a visit. Is on the opposite side of the harbour in Kowloon. Tin Hau Temple, Tin Hau Temple worships the sea goddess, and you'll find there are quite a few Tin Hau temples around Hong Kong. Right, I'm going to go on to the next part of the presentation, which is about the great outdoors. So I mentioned earlier, Hong Kong is not just big buildings, high rises. There's also a lot of green space. 70% of Hong Kong is actually green. So if visitors don't see the great outdoors, they are missing 70% of Hong Kong. There are islands to explore. There's hiking. There is lots of lovely beaches. For people who have half a day or a day, they want to have an idea of what to do, probably you can recommend doing something like seeing the rural areas of Hong Kong. And because public transport is so good, all these areas, rural areas, are accessible by ferry, by buses, by taxis quite easily. And Hong Kong has a similar, in terms of seasons, it's the same as in over here. So summer is July, August, winter is December, January. But Hong Kong has a very tropical climate. So even in winter, we're talking about 15 degrees. So in winter, I mean, there's a lot of hiking, island hopping to do. And in summer, certainly all the water sports are available. So I will just play this video for you. now going to show you the next 3 questions, which is going to be based on the video. How many mountain trails are there in Hong Kong? A few more seconds. Thank you very much. Yes, the answer is 300. I couldn't believe it either when I first saw the figures. Yeah, there are that many to choose from. Next question. What is the Tin Tan Buddha more affectionately known as? Thank you. Yes, the answer is Big Buddha. In Hong Kong, you find everyone refers to that as going to see the Big Buddha or going to see visit the Big Buddha. And then last question. Which one of these is not a beach in Hong Kong? It's not a beach in Hong Kong. Okay, I'll end the poll. Yes, the correct answer is Fistral Beach, which is in lovely Cornwall. So Big Wave Bay is on Hong Kong Island. As the name suggests, it is very popular, as you can imagine, with surfers. And Pui O is another very quiet, lovely beach on Lantau Island, which is near the Big Buddha. So for anyone visiting the Big Buddha, you can make it a day trip and go to the beach as well. And then finally, I just want to leave you with some resources. PartnerNet on the top left here is our trade portal, so you can register and receive our newsletter or go on there to find information, our asset library for images and events are on in Hong Kong, etc. Specialist Hong Kong, or Hong Kong Specialist, I should say, is our in-house online training modules for anyone who wants to learn more in-depth knowledge about Hong Kong. By all means, do register. It's in 3 different modules, so you can do it at your own pace. Selling Travel, we have a hub in Selling Travel, which is at this address. It is very useful, for example, if you were, well, everything I mentioned today, you can find in the hub. And also if you were, say, want an idea about itineraries, you also get tips in there. And that's it for me. Thank you very much.